Hello and welcome to the Great Gubal Library. This is a level 59 to 60 dungeon for Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward. This video intends to make the bosses within easy to learn and is such bite-sized for you to watch on the fly when you need it. The trash here is a great mixture of monster models and wondrous scenery that I'll let you look at in your own time, but mechanically nothing unlike what you're used to by now. The first boss may strike fear into newcomers of the expansion if they played the base game. This is Demon Tome. Demon Tome will be in the centre of the platform you fight him, and he'll block the way forward to the rest of the dungeon. His first abilities are as follows. An AoE will be cast down the middle of the room in a line, and then down both sides, leaving the centre safe. If you get hit by this purple AoE, it will place a slow on your character and will do damage. During this avoid the line part of the fight, the Demon Tome will also target a random player and put an ice attack on their location. This can obviously be a pain due to having to move from the lines, but in the end it's better to take damage from the ice and not get the slow put on your character from the line. The reason for this is his next ability, Disclosure. This is where the boss closes up and begins to cast a very powerful ability towards your party. As soon as the book closes and the book starts to glow, you need to make sure that you're on the sides of the room and you're ready to move behind the book. Note that you cannot pass through the boss himself, so make sure you're at the sides of the room and ready to run. After a while, the disclosure phase will become more tricky, where the boss will put ice on the floor. This will make you slide in a direction you input on either your keyboard or your controller if you're on PS4, so make sure that you move to the sides after the AoE lines are cast, and then you move forwards behind the boss. And that's pretty much all there is to this boss. He's a pretty simple avoid the line, move behind the boss sort of attack thing. It's just to catch out players who are not familiar with this fight or have completely, forgotten the Demon War way. But that's all there is to this boss, so let's move on to boss number 2, Byblos. Byblos is another book demon, as you might guess with his biblical name. This guy pops out of the book that's in the centre of the room at the start of the fight. This book will serve as his first ability, where periodically throughout the fight he will run to the middle and jump back into the book, becoming unattackable. When this happens, 2 ads will spawn in the room. These ads are nothing special, and their AoE line attacks actually just tickle moderately. Nothing big to worry about, just avoid them if you can. However, when they die, they will attach tethers to 2 players at random. You need to drag these tethers into the book into the centre of the room to cause the demon to pop out again and be attackable. After the first book phase, the boss will pop out clouds around the room. These need to be popped very slowly by running into them, as each one does 2000 damage and a pushback. Popping multiples could completely wreck your party, so be careful and have some way of managing this. The reason that we pop these clouds is that the tethers making the book phase end will break if 2 of these clouds collide and cause yet another ad phase. So make sure you run into the clouds that appear in danger of collision with other clouds as a priority to skip having to do extra ads in the fight. Other abilities are cleaves that you should avoid by not being in front of the boss's face, tail swipes that if you're directly behind him, so if you're melee, dragoons, etc., attack from the sides if possible, and an ability called Head Down. This is a random party member targeted ability that is unavoidable, and it's a charge stun. The stun doesn't last very long, but it's more of the fact that if it targets you, you need to make sure that either your party moves or you move away from your party as to not hit them as well, because he will hit every single person that's in his way on his way to you. But that's pretty much Byblos. He's nothing too extraordinary, and he's a pretty rewarding fight once you get it down. So let's move on to the last boss of the instance. This is the ever-living Bibliotath. This is a walking book creature with serious anger issues. During percentage drops of 85, 55 and 25% HP left on his meter, the boss will cause platforms on the ground to light up. These platforms need the number of lights shown on them of the players to stand on them and turn off. For example, 1 light is 1 person on that platform. 2 lights will mean 2 players need to stand on that platform to dim the light, etc. If a platform is not completed correctly within 10 seconds, it will summon a void sent ad into the room, which you really don't want to happen and can cause the fight to be unmanageable pretty quickly. During the fight, Bibliotaph will mark players and drop AoEs on them, which does damage to party members nearby with a pulsing attack. This also adds a vulnerability to magic debuff on the player's hit that you don't want to spread. Other things to watch out for are his second summoning platform phase, which is around 55%. The boss will cast Deep Darkness. This is a nasty AoE that also puts heavy on players, and then a magic burst AoE that does a pulse of damage. Rinse and repeat the fight and Byblos will fall over dead pretty damn quickly. Thank you all for watching this basic boss guide for the Great Gubal Library. If you found it helpful, please leave me a like below, it really does help. And until the next one, I'll see you next time.